Renault Arkana Review.
But before we start, please support us by pressing like and subscribe buttons. Also turn on the bell notification to get the latest updates. Your support means a lot to us. Thank you.
This is the Renault Arkana, an all-new model from the French carmaker that wants a slice of the coupe-SUV pie the likes of Mercedes and BMW have been baking for a while now. But will buyers warm to a pawn-shop version of a premium lifestyle-oriented offering? Will this analogy stretch any further, or has the pastry been overworked? Calm down. What are the engine options? You get two powertrains to choose from with the Arkana. There's a 1.3-liter turbo petrol, 138 brake horsepower, with 12V mild hybrid tech. It is fancy stop/start and offers a weensy boost under acceleration, and a 7-speed dual-clutch auto or a 1.6-liter full hybrid, 143 brake horsepower combined, that has two electric motors and a dog box. The latter transmission is a strange thing to find on a hybrid SUV. It's usually used in racing cars, and does away with such fripperies as the clutch to remove friction and energy losses. It would normally be a rough shifter, best suited to full-bore acceleration, but Renault's trick setup uses one of the electric motors to smooth those shifts out. Strangely, one of the company's engineers came up with the idea and persuaded his bosses to sign it off by building a working model out of Lego. How does the car drive? The Arkana handles with reasonable alacrity. The front end bites into corners and the car remains flat, but this is at the expense of ride comfort, which is a touch too firm for a nice family SUV, thunking over speed bumps and the like. The sporty vibe doesn't extend to sporty acceleration. Both cars sit just either side of the 10-second mark on the 0 to 62 miles per hour run, the 1.3 petrol having the edge. The hybrid car is the better choice around town. Its 1.2 kilowatt-hour battery enough to propel it along for a decent amount of time in EV mode, maybe even a mile or two if you drive carefully. As is the way with these things, the engine can be noisy and intrusive under heavy load, but the transitions are fairly smooth around town. But is the Arcanai expensive? The Arkana has three trim levels: Iconic, S Edition and RS line, which start at around £25,000 and nudge to just over £30,000 in top spec. All models get automatic air con, keyless entry and start, smartphone integration, LED headlights and cruise control as standard, while the entry car's 7.0-inch touchscreen infotainment system is upgraded to a 9.3-inch number for S Edition cars and above. How does it compare with its rivals? Renault is obviously trying to create a bit of a niche for itself with all the coupe shtick, but the likes of the Toyota CHR, from £25,000, and Cupra Formentor, from £27,000, have more exciting designs and in the Cupra's case a proper plug-in hybrid option if the eco thing appeals. Even the Citroën C4, from £20,000, does a better job of distinctive character-led design, and that has an all-electric option too. What's the verdict? The Arkana doesn't excel anywhere and ultimately feels too clinical. Without excelling in any particular area, the Arkana ultimately feels like a bit of a clinical focus group-led exercise. There's no doubt that it will hit the spot for a certain customer who's not really interested in cars and wants something a little distinctive, but coming from a company that's been as stylish and challenging in the past as Renault, it's a bit of a disappointment. The upcoming electric Megane has done a much better job at straddling the look of cars from different categories, but we should probably at least applaud Renault for trying. There's none of the quirkiness we've seen from the French carmaker in the past, though. What is it like to drive? The Arkana suffers from a bit of a harsh ride, as Renault engineers prioritize sporty handling over comfort. So the front end is incisive and the car remains flat through corners, but it means the car's too firm. It's the sort of ride that puts you on edge with passengers on board, apologizing if you've taken a speed bump that little bit too swiftly. The steering wheel also feels a touch over-assisted, dialed up to force the wheel back to the center and making a corner or roundabout feel like a series of micro-maneuvers than a single flowing event. There are three driving modes to choose from: My Sense, Sport and Eco modes mess around with the throttle, steering and digital instrument display. My Sense is the Goldilocks choice. Eco saps your power, while choosing Sport, via a touchscreen submenu. Renault's been taking lessons from Volkswagen here, makes the steering even heavier and hangs onto gears and revs. Is it quick? The 1.3-liter mild hybrid version of the car is the swiftest. It'll manage the run to 62 miles per hour in a mere 9.8 seconds and has a top speed of 127 miles per hour. The full hybrid car is a second slower to 62 miles per hour and tops out at 107 miles per hour, despite its larger 1.6-liter engine and the two electric motors. That said, the hybrid might be packing an extra 100 kilograms over the MHEV car's 1,335 kilograms, but those batteries do help the car to an official 58.9 miles per gallon versus the other car's 48.7 miles per gallon. The Renault Arkana succeeds in many ways for its small niche as a coupe SUV without a premium price tag, and there are plenty of attractive finance offers that mean it's pretty good value for money in some ways. Yet there may be a reason for these low prices, as the Arkana's powertrains aren't as convincing here as they are in other, smaller Renault models, and the ride isn't as good as what we've come to expect from the brand. The Arkana misses the mark when you consider that a smaller SUV like the Captur is better value, while the larger Kadjar is more comfortable. However, it's smart-looking, practical, and has a lot of standard safety kit. About the Renault Arkana. The Renault Arkana is a new niche model for the brand, and although it's based on the same underpinnings as the Captur crossover, its larger and the coupe-like shape means it has a different kind of appeal. Renault has specifically named the Toyota CHR as a rival, which gives you a good idea of where it sits in the market. Other competitors include the latest Citroën C4, another French model with smart looks, and you could consider a Mazda CX-30 as an alternative as well. If you've been to Russia, you might have seen a model called Arkana there, but this version is pretty much completely different to that model and is built in South Korea. While it uses the CMF platform of the Captur, the Arkana is actually bigger than its Kadjar sibling, which technically sits above it in the range. There are two engines, a 1.3-liter petrol engine with 138 brake horsepower, or an E-Tech hybrid model with a 1.6-liter petrol engine and an electric motor for a combined 140 brake horsepower. Both use an automatic gearbox as standard, and even the normal petrol has mild hybrid assistance. The Arkana shares many styling elements with other models in the Renault range. The C-shaped headlights are the most noticeable aspect, along with the trim piece on the bottom of the doors and the plastic cladding around the wheel arches. These are all very familiar from the Captur, though the Arkana's sloping rear roofline and other exaggerated features help it stand out. There are only 3 trim levels: Iconic, S Edition and RS line. Standard equipment on the base model includes LED lights, 17-inch alloys, fabric seats, a 7-inch touchscreen with smartphone connectivity and climate control, while safety kit includes traffic sign recognition, AEB, lane keep assist and a rear-view camera with parking sensors. S Edition models add a blind spot warning, plus a larger 9.3-inch screen and a 7-inch driver's info display. There's also 18-inch alloys and adaptive cruise control. RS line gets a sportier look with 18-inch alloy wheels and extra trim pieces, plus heated seats and leather seats. Prices look high given that the Arkana feels like a scaled-up Captur rather than an upmarket new model, but we have spotted plenty of low-cost finance deals that could mean it's worth considering, yet the strength of its rivals mean it's not the easiest model to recommend. What do coupe SUVs and caviar have in common? Well, it's all a question of money. You can easily get hold of either if you've got lots of cash, but it's much trickier on a budget, and that's where the Renault Arkana steps in. The Arkana won't fit on your blini and doesn't go well with smoked salmon, but it does combine slinky styling with a healthy dash of practicality. It also has the raised driving position that SUV buyers adore, and all at a price that'll have you slapping your back pocket in appreciation. The cheapest of the 2 engine options Renault offers you is the TCE 140 mild hybrid, but if you have your eye on greater economy and emission savings, you might be better served by the self-charging hybrid E-Tech 145. Once you've picked your engine, there are 3 trim levels to choose from, plus a small selection of options if you want to personalize your car. Finding an affordable coupe SUV is getting easier, and not just since the advent of the Arkana. If you're happy with something a bit smaller, there's always the BMW X2 and Toyota CHR, while the Cupra Formentor is one of our favorites and is available with an even greater range of engines, including plug-in hybrids. Keep on reading this comprehensive review of the Renault Arkana to find out how it drives, what it's like inside, how practical it is, and how much it will cost to run. We'll also tell you how it compares with other coupe SUVs you might be considering. Remember, if you do decide to buy one, or any other make and model of car for that matter, make sure you check out the free What Car? New Car Buying Service. It has lots of good Renault Arkana deals.